the rest of us for people do what they do. Try to take down a statue. Those are questions worth considering. Well, it took months, but the people who run the country eventually got bored with shaming the rest of us for people do what they do. Try to take down a statue of somebody Nancy Pelosi admires and find out what happened. But these statues, who cares? They're just dead traitors, as one of the dumbest members of the U.S. Senate recently called them. But there's one kind of expression that people like Nancy Pelosi can't stand and won't stand for. People who say the United States isn't racist and don't want public spaces filled with left-wing graffiti. In the town of Martinez, California, activists spray-painted Black Lives Matter in the middle of a public street, which they do not own, but they did it anyway. In response to this, two taxpayers, residents of the town, called Nicole Anderson and David Nelson, decided to return their street to normal.
He's in New York. This is not happening in my town. You're a colonizer. You're not from America. You're a colonizer. Your ancestors are from here. Your bucket. You want something? Come and get it, because you're not getting this bucket anymore, dumb.
Not happening in my town, she said, to which the lunatic said, it's not your country. It's not your country. Now, to be clear, the people you just saw on tape hurt nobody. They destroyed nothing. And yet they have been charged with a hate crime by the state of California. Nicole Anderson and David Nelson join us tonight, and we're happy to have them. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you.
So tell us, if you would, I think what we already know, but just summarize for us quickly why you did this.
Yeah, so Tucker, I was on my way home on a bike ride, and I saw what they were doing downtown there with the graffiti. And I grew up in Martinez, so it struck a chord with me. I don't agree with BLM. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with black people. That's not what this is about. They have a hidden agenda. So when I saw that, I went home and let Nicole know. And she said, I'm going to go down there and paint over it. And I said, nah. And she goes, yes, I am. When she has her mind made up, that's what she's going to do, what she's going to do. So we went down there, and I went down there just to have her back. And then somebody got in my face and just kind of set me off. And I want to be clear that I wish I would have handled it more diplomatically. But I was angry. And we're sick of this. We're sick of the narrative.
I just don't want them to defund our police. Luckily, we have them. Thank God we have them in these last couple days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're aware, and it's your town. I mean, you just said that you're from there, and the people who painted this don't own the street. I presume you pay taxes.
Yes.
So you're aware that in California, rather in San Francisco, not that far from you, BLM activists ripped down a statue and spray painted "Kill Whitey" on it, which is obviously a racial attack and incitement to violence. I don't think anyone was charged with a hate crime. In fact, nobody was. Why do you think you were charged with a, quote, hate crime?
Well, it's because we decided to stand against an organization that we don't agree with, and that's the issue that we're facing. And that if an American can't stand up and voice their opinion, and we're being silenced, it's a cancel culture that we're living in. And if we don't do something, we need to stand up. Everybody needs to get together and band together and actually take to the streets. I hear a lot of talk, but I don't actually see Americans standing up and doing something about it. And the reason being is because we're losing jobs when we stand up. You see what happened to Kelly Loeffler. They want her to step down. So, I mean, this is what we're facing here in America. And it's imperative that we do something and do it quick, because we're starting to lose ground here.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make an example out of you. The people who did this, who charged you with a hate crime, should be impeached, because it's completely outrageous. But I got to wonder about the consequences to you. I mean, there's nothing more shameful than being charged with a hate crime, which is, of course, why they did it. Are you worried about losing your job?
It's in the balance. It's up in the air right now as we speak.
I work for myself.
Yeah, she works for herself, so she doesn't have to worry about it.
But you think you could be fired, David, because of this?
Yes, I'm actually on a leave type of thing right now to wait and see what happens.
Man, you got a lot of brass. This was a brave thing. This was a brave thing to do. I mean, are you paying a lawyer to defend you? Again, I just want to say again, you've been charged with a hate crime for painting over graffiti that wasn't supposed to be there.
That's right. This is the double standard and the hypocrisy of the whole thing. It's okay for BLM to go around and burn down the country, terrorize America, actually kill people. They've done more harm than they've done good, Tucker.
They're not saving Black lives.
When we stand up and give them a little iota taste of their own medicine, this is the extreme measures that are being taken, and we can't let it happen. We need to stand up. We need to get together, all Americans in every city, and take to the streets.
Yeah.
Man, I hope someone defends you. Conservatives have spent billions of dollars on these nonprofits in D.C. They vote for the Republican politicians. I hope one of those people, many of them, spring to your aid, because this is an outrage. You're very brave. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much, Tucker. My pleasure.
David Nicole, thanks. Well, Kanye West is running for president. You think it may be a joke, but it's not a joke. And by the way, in 2020, anything is possible. So if West is on the ballot this fall, how many votes could he get, and what effect would it have on the
तुमको ही तो था पाने